Hi there again everyone, Leanne here and welcome back to Leanne's Library. So I've been away for a little bit and I've literally had no energy to record. This seems to happen regularly. I'll just kind of post when I post. This channel is mainly for me to get my thoughts out and to try and speak to people in the bookish community, so hopefully that's getting across. And I have joined some discords that I really enjoy, so that's really fun. And I chat to people over there, so it's all about getting into the bookish community and being happy reading and being able to talk about the books that I love. So I'm bringing back my TBR game. Like, it's never really gone away since I made it, but I'm only doing it every 2 months now, as you might know from my last video, my last TBR game video. I'm doing the game basically for 2 months worth of content, so it's going to be July and August this time, and this is going to be my TBR, my hooked and booked TBR for July and August. So shall we jump straight into it? So on to my very first roll. So my first roll brought up some rainbow yarn, which is something I don't tend to get very often, and this is the prompt for a book with "and" in the title. So for this I'm going to choose The Mermaid, the Witch and the Sea by Maggie Tokuda Hall. I've been wanting to read this one for the past few months actually. I bought it a little bit of time ago and I've been wanting to get to it. It sounds really good. I've been wanting to read a book with basically set on the sea, on the ocean, and I'm finally going to be able to do that with this, so I'm hoping this is really good. So that's roll number one. On to roll number two. So roll number two was a stitch markers prompt, and this is a book with monsters in it. So I am rereading Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Eames this month with the Wicked Good Books Club, and this was actually my pick for it, so I'm really excited to reread this book. I absolutely loved this when I first read it. My favourite character's name is Moog, and he's a wizard, and he's super, super awesome cool. But yes, I am very excited to reread this because it was one of my favourite books. I think it was last year when I read it, or the year before. Can't quite remember. But yeah, it's got lots of references to music in it, which I did not pick up on the first time round. So I'll see if I pick up on anything this time. So I think it's like 80s music, I think. Don't quote me on that. So maybe I'll pick up on it because I do like 80s music, but I don't pick up on music references very well. So people from the Discord that I'm reading this on might have to tell me what those references are. But yeah, very excited to reread this. It's basically about this group of guys that you can see on the cover. They are middle-aged. They want to, they get set on a quest basically, and because they are a bit older now, like in the past, they've gone on these quests, they've enjoyed themselves, they've nearly died lots of times, but they were young, they were fit, they were getting through it just fine. But now they're older, they've got pains in places they didn't know they had. It's just comical in a way because because they never thought they'd be doing this again. They thought they'd retired that life, and something pulls them back into it. So very excited to reread this, as I've said about 10 times already. So on to roll number three. So roll number three gave me a rainbow yarn prompt again, and that is a book with "the" in the title. So another reread straight after that is Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. Yeah, I'm rereading it. I'm reading this in July. I'm planning on reading Harrow in August in anticipation for Nona to come out in September. So I'm very, very excited to jump back in the world again. This time, I am going to be annotating Gideon the Ninth and Harrow because I have two copies. So I'm holding up my actually signed copy, so I won't be annotating this one. But I have already sorted Gideon because I knew I was definitely going to read it regardless of what what prompts I got. So it has already started. It's in the other room. I've already started writing in it. So I'm reading up my signed copy. But this is basically about Gideon, and it's from her perspective. She has got to. I don't know how much is spoilers because you find out what she's got to do within the first section, so I don't know if I should say. But it's sci-fantasy series that's still ongoing. It's very dark. It's very comical, like very British humour in this. Like the very sweary banter kind of humour, I guess. So we got a lot of banter. Main two characters hate each other very much, and it's put as lesbian necromancers explore a haunted gothic palace in space. Technically, the palace isn't in space. That makes it sound like a space station or something, but it is on another planet. So they like the only space you get in this one is kind of them traveling between one planet to another. The second one, however, is extremely space sci-fi heavy, so it's amazing. But I love Gideon. There's always, always, always going to be a special place in my heart for this book because I love it so much. I don't even know how many times I've read them at this point. I think this will be my fourth time reading Gideon. I'm not absolutely certain on that, but I'm excited to do this all over again. I don't think I'll ever get fed up with these books. So yeah, Gideon. On to roll number 4. So roll number 4 gave us a needles prompt, which was to scroll through Goodreads. So I think I recorded me doing this. So if I did, I'll put it here. But I can't remember if I hit screen record or not. So we'll see. This will be as much as a surprise for me as it is to you. Anyway, so if it's here, that's great. So I scrolled through Goodreads and I got to the Song of Achilles, and I have been wanting to read this because I bought a very beautiful edition. I will grab now. So it's this gorgeous naked hardcover with no dust jacket, which is fantastic, and it has a ribbon in it as a bookmark. This is stunning, and I'm very excited to read this. I'm very excited to cry reading this, apparently, because everybody cries. So yeah, I'm gonna read this. It's basically the story of Achilles and Patroclus. So it's their story. It's got the Trojan War, and many things happen. Obviously, artistic license has been taken with the original story, but Patroclus and Achilles are so gay. That's what happens in this book. I know it's Achillean. There's a reason that gay romance in literature now is called Achillean, and Achilles is the reason. So I'm gonna read this and cry probably. So fingers crossed, because I love Circe, so I'm hoping to also love this. So that's on my TBR now. Jumping on to roll number 5. So I landed on a hooks prompt, and that gave me a book with an element on the cover. So this keeps being on my TBR because it's an arc, but hopefully I finally read this. I'm going to read The Dragon's Promise, which is the sequel to Six Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim. Is that right? Yeah, by Elizabeth Lim. I had to find it. So it's a sequel to Six Crimson Cranes. Six Crimson Cranes was about a princess who got cursed along with her brothers. So she has like a stepmom and a father and that kind of stuff. But yeah, they're like living in a palace, and there's a dragon involved. And like I say, the girl gets cursed. She has like a wooden ball put on her head too, like it's covering her eyes. People won't recognise her. Her 6 brothers, I think it's 6 brothers, or is it 5, something like that, get turned into cranes, and if she speaks, then one of them die. Like each sound or word that she makes, one brother will die, so she cannot speak. And it's the story following her trying to break the curse. So this is the sequel. So I can't give any spoilers. I don't want to say anything about the book, just in case, but I'm excited to read it. So moving on to roll number 6. So I landed on Hooks again, and this is a book with no people on the cover, which is good because with the Wicked Good Book Club, I'm reading Ordinary Monsters. This is the pick for the Wicked Good Books Club. So Kings of the Wild was the pick for like 12 books recommended by 12 friends that we're doing over there, and this is just like the main book for the book club. So Ordinary Monsters. It's a very chunky book. I don't have the physical version, I only have it on audio, so I'll put a picture up here, which is probably already there from editing. But I don't know much about this apart from that it's a historical fantasy style book, and I kind of want to go into it blind. I know I have read the synopsis and I like the sound of it, but I don't remember anything about it, so fingers crossed it's good because it's a chonker. So yeah, this is also my TBR. Next roll. So this was a stitch markers prompt, and for some reason I've landed on non-human character, even though I've literally just landed on no people on the cover. So very similar prompts. Anyway, so non-human character, I am going to put, I think I'll read Misrule for this because I've been meaning to read this as well. It's been on my TBR for a little bit as well. So Misrule is the sequel to Malice, and Malice was about so non-human character meaning Fae, basically. This is Fae. So Malice was a kind of Maleficent retelling, where it's from her perspective, and it's a sapphic romance as well. I'm not going to tell you between who, but it's very good, and I really enjoyed Malice, so I'm excited to read Misrule. Fae, like she's meant to be the dark Fae, which is kind of, she's cast out or picked on for having the powers that she does. So she's kind of brought up thinking she's evil, even though she very well could not be. Like, don't use your powers for bad things. Be brought up right now, whatever. But yeah, everybody shuns her because of her powers. So she's brought up around all these like pretty, happy, good fairies, and she's shunned. So moving on to the sequel this month, or within the next 2 months, hopefully. So on to roll number 8, I think. So this time I landed on Rainbow Yarn, and this is a book with of in the title, which is perfect. And the reason this is perfect is because I've been reading a Brandon Sanderson Mistborn book every month, and Hero of Ages has of in it. So I'm adding this to my TBR. This is another chunker. It's the last book in Era 1 of Mistborn, and I'm excited to reread this because I read them ages ago. I remember the ending and I don't remember anything else. So I know what the very end, like what happens at the very end, vaguely. But I'm excited to reread this and explore what happens in the final book because I don't remember much at all. So yay! So Mistborn follows a group of people, mainly Vin, and they have like powers based on metals. So they have to ingest or swallow metals and burn them inside themselves to be able to do all sorts of different things like push against things to move away and kind of fly sometimes-ish. It's like really cool jumping, but it looks like flying because of magnetic forces and stuff like that. But it's very scientific kind of magic. It's used in a way that would happen if this existed, if you know what I mean. It's very scientific, and Brando Sando likes to explain how this magic system works in great detail. But it's absolutely fantastic, and I am very excited to see what happens to our characters and with the plot in this last book. On to roll number 9. So this time we landed on stitch markers again. And this is a BIPOC rep prompt. So I'm going to be reading Jasmine Throne again with the Wicked Good Books Club. Wicked Good Book Club. Say it right, Leon. So this is the Jasmine Throne by Tasha Sori. I have been meaning to read this awesomely floppy book for a while, because I've had it on my shelf for ages now, and I've been really wanting to read it. It's sapphic and political fantasy, so like the romance element apparently isn't as high up as everybody keeps kind of saying it is. So I'm grateful to know that before going into it, because I was expecting it to be romance heavy, but it's not. So I have my expectations differently now, so that's good. But I'm very excited to read this. It's got something to do with a princess and a maidservant, and I think they fall in love. Like I say, it's sapphic, and it's like about freedom and uprising. I don't want to know too much again, but I know it's about, like, obviously very opposite ends of the spectrum on a social standard, and all that kind of stuff. So very excited to read this, and hopefully I think that will be my final roll, but let's roll to the end anyway, hopefully. So yes, that is the end of the Hooked and Booked TBR game for the months of July and August. So this is my pile, and I think that's excluding Ordinary Monsters, Gideon, which is in the other room because I forgot to add it to the pile when I was just doing the TBR game. What was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. Misrule. I think excluding that as well. I think that's everything. I think. But yeah, this is some chunky books this month, or this next 2 months, so it's not too bad. I've got 2 months to read all these. So I think I'm going to be definitely reading Kings of the Wild, Hero of Ages, Jasmine Throne, Ordinary Monsters, and Gideon. They're all definitely this month. And then the others I can read in August if I want to, so very excited for this TBR because I DNF'd quite a few books last month, and I'm a bit unhappy about that. I really want to just read books that I love and will love, so fingers crossed for 2 months of no DNFs. However, if I do not like a book, I will just put it down and move on, because I'm fed up of fighting my way through books that I do not like. So I have DNF'd so much this year because I just couldn't get through some of these books. Some I may pick up again in the future. Some are soft DNFs, others are hard DNFs, and I will not touch them again. We will see. However, that is my TBR for July and August. I will see you next time. TTFN. Bye bye.